Even as rain red alert is withdrawn and rains have finally let up in the city of Chennai, residents in the city are still struggling with waterlogging. The civic body has been exposed completely as Chennai was literally brought to its knees during the rains, with water entering people's homes, subways and even hospitals. Over 500 locations have reported waterlogging yesterday, and so far 10 subways have been cleared for traffic. Even today, as a precautionary measure, schools and colleges are going to be shut. Now, residents are also struggling with power cuts as power supply was disrupted in over 60,000 houses across the city yesterday. 14 lives have been lost so far in rain-related incidents across the state. In fact, this is a matter of relief, of course, that the red alert that was sounded for the city yesterday has finally been withdrawn. However, the rains have let up, but residents in the city are still struggling with the issue of waterlogging. The civic body has been exposed completely once again as Chennai was literally brought to its knees during the rains, with water entering people's homes, buildings, subways, and even some hospitals. In fact, the latest update that we are getting regarding waterlogging situation is that over 500 locations across the city have been waterlogged yesterday. In fact, Mugilan is with us live from Chennai to give more updates on this. So Mugilan, good morning. The depression has finally crossed Chennai. Red alert has also been withdrawn. Now, if we talk about the current situation, how's the city coping up?
Yesterday, after evening, that is around 3 o'clock, the rain stopped. The strong winds also stopped in Chennai, and following that, there was no rainfall till now. So the normalcy is slowly limping back, but still there are several areas that are inundated. More than 500 locations has been identified by the Chennai Corporation as waterlogged area, and the work and the measures and the actions to pump out water from those areas have begun from yesterday night. And yesterday night itself, we have seen more than 10 subways which was inundated with water was cleared for traffic by the Chennai Corporation. So now the other works, the relief works have begun in full swing. And more importantly, yesterday we saw the Chennai airport. There were disruptions in the service in Chennai airport. There were several domestic and international flights were cancelled and diverted as the arrival was suspended for more than 5 hours due to bad wind. So that also have resumed to normal, and there is no significant delay in any of the train services except the electric train service, which will run as per the Sunday schedule. That is less in number. So the normalcy is very slowly limping back. But yes, the biggest challenge for the Chennai Corporation is the waterlogged areas, because since Sunday we have seen several areas are still underwater today. For the seventh day, sixth day, we are still seeing several areas are inundated with water. So the Chennai Corporation have begun that work, and in most of the areas, power has been suspended due to safety reasons. So the power has not been resumed in several areas.
Right, Mugilan, just hold your thought. I'll go across to another correspondent who is on ground right now. He's Deepak Bopanna, who is at T Nagar, Chennai, and he is going to show us the latest waterlogging situation.
Several people, of course, opting to either walk or cycle, because that seems to be the more convenient way, instead of spending thousands of rupees on repairing, their vehicles after, getting it out onto these waterlogged streets. So, like I mentioned, it's just not the subarterial roads. We are standing right next to a main road. And that too, of course, has a lot of waterlogging. And right now, they're using pump sets. The NDRF teams, the police, and the fire department, all of them together using pump sets to drain out the water from, areas like these, where the drainage system is so poor that the water has nowhere to go. And that in fact, is the question that the people of Chennai should be asking, their civic bodies, their governments, as to where is the drainage system. And if this is the condition, even a light rain could cause this. We don't need a flooding like 2015, where lake ponds completely opened up and gushed onto the streets. Even rains like this is causing waterlogging, and despite, several hours where we don't have rain, if this is the condition, it shows the kind of apathy in laying of these roads, in planning of, these bylanes as well.
Bopanna giving us live updates from one of the worst affected areas in the city of Chennai, T Nagar, heavily waterlogged even when rains have subsided. Let me go back to Mugilan, who will give us more updates from the other parts of the city. So Mugilan, we just showed our viewers what is the situation like in T Nagar and how it is heavily waterlogged. And I'm believing that many such areas are reeling because of this waterlogging problem. But if we talk about the situation of power cuts, yesterday we saw power supply was snapped in waterlogged areas. Around 60,000 houses were impacted. What is the status now? Has it been restored?
The power supply to more than 61,700 residents is the last number what we got from the Tamil Nadu Electricity Board was suspended for safety reasons. In only very few areas, the power supply has been restored yet. In most of the places still are under dark because of the waterlogging situation. In areas like Vadapalani, T Nagar, KK Nagar and most of the northern Chennai areas are still under dark. There is no power supply. And in areas like KK Nagar, Ashok Nagar, and in North Chennai, in several areas, the power was suspended on Sunday and still it has not been restored. So that is the kind of situation that the people are living in. The Chennai Corporation also now taking measures to pump out water, but the electricity department maintained that they will be restoring power supply only if the water in the waterlogged areas recede, is what we are hearing from the electricity department.
Mugilan, stay with us. Let me go back to Deepak Bopanna, who is giving us live updates. In fact, we'll go back to him and all our correspondents who are covering each and every part of the city right now. The city of Chennai, remember, have been facing heavy rains since many days now. Yesterday, red alert was sounded. The city saw unprecedented amount of rains. In fact, because of that, waterlogging situation has worsened in the city. And Mugilan is still with us to give us more updates on this. So, Mugilan, if we talk about the weather forecast for the city of Chennai and also the adjoining areas, what's the weather forecast like in the next few hours and tomorrow? For now, we can see the rains have subsided. But what about near future?
Definitely, the IMD has predicted that there will be no rainfall for Chennai and the adjoining districts like Tiruvallur, Kanchipuram, and Chengalpet for today, is what we are hearing from the IMD. And they also predicted that there will be a new low pressure area will be formed next week, is what we are hearing from the IMD officials. But as of now, there'll be no rains in Chennai or any of the neighboring districts.
Okay. And if we talk about airports specifically, Mugilan, we saw airport operations taking a hit yesterday. Arrivals were suspended for a few hours. What's the situation like now? Has the airport made any kind of special arrangements for the passenger in the wake of these heavy spell of rains?
We have seen there was a very strong winds noted in Chennai. It was clocking to a speed of more than 45 kilometers per hour. And taking note of that situation, the airport authorities have suspended the arrival for more than 5 hours. And we have seen several flights were diverted to Bangalore and Hyderabad, and several flights were cancelled and delayed. But after 6 p.m., as the wind severity also have come down, the arrival resumed and these operations also resumed. So after 6 p.m. yesterday, the airport operations are happening smoothly without any delay or rescheduling, is what we are learning from the airport authorities. And they say that they constantly they're keeping a watch on the airport operations and the landing area, is what we are as of now learning from the airport officials.
Right, Mugilan, thank you for sharing all those updates. And this is the latest that we are getting from Chennai. In fact, let me go to our correspondent Deepak Bopanna, who is on ground, covering the waterlogging situation in one of the worst affected areas of the city, that is T Nagar. Deepak, you are standing in T Nagar right now, and we can see in the visuals behind you how this entire area is still heavily waterlogged. Take us through the details. What exactly can you see?
Well, I'm on GN Chetty Road in T Nagar. This is one of the poshest areas in Chennai, and you can see the condition behind me. It's been about 12 hours since there has been some sort of relief from the heavy downpour, but the waterlogging, of course, continues, and that's the biggest concern, and that's something that exposes the poor civic planning on the streets of Chennai. And you can see a tree that has been, of course, uprooted there, cutting off connectivity for the residents. The movement for cars, of course, is nearly impossible at this point in time. There are, of course, a few people who are managing to walk through these waters and walk through these streets. But as far as bikes or cars are concerned, for anyone who's inside this particular lane, they cannot use this particular stretch of the road. Water, even now, as you go, into this particular stretch, is about knee level. And like I mentioned, for the last 12 hours, there hasn't been too much rain. And if the water hasn't drained out, you can just imagine the kind of poor planning that has gone on to, making the drainage system on this particular stretch of the road, in constructing this particular stretch of the road. It's not just, the subarterial roads. We have, of course, been coming into this particular stretch, and the main roads as well. Right where I'm standing is the GN Chetty Road, and I'm standing, of course, perpendicular to that, and you can see waterlogging still prevalent there as well. And this is while we've not had rains, and the road opposite this as well, you can see there too, there's a lot of waterlogging, and this entire stretch, of course, is a low-lying area. So the importance for the fire department officials or the NDRF officials, overall any agency working on the ground would be to bring pump sets to drain out the water, because that seems to be the only feasible option with the amount of waterlogging that there is. Because for the people living in and around, if you notice, for them to come out of their homes would be extremely difficult. And with a tree that has, of course, been uprooted, and no civic agency yet coming here to fix it, shows how strenuous it is right now, even for the agencies, to identify stretches like this, to fix it, and to ensure that normal life returns for them. Because as far as the IMD is concerned, they are saying that the rains, there was relief today, but it could be coming back tomorrow. So the rains are going to continue, not as heavy as it has been for the last couple of days, but the rains are going to continue. And we've seen with the example of roads like this that it doesn't require a massive a rainfall or flooding like what happened in 2015. Even just strong spells of rain could expose the civic apathy in the city of Chennai.
Correct. Thank you, Deepak, for sharing with us all the details from T Nagar, one of the worst hit areas of the city. In fact, as we were telling our viewers, that even though rains have subsided in the city of Chennai, the waterlogging woes continues for the residents. And of course, authorities are working day and night to pump out the water from the worst hit areas, but still relief is far, far away. We will be tracking all the developments taking place in the city of Chennai and adjoining areas here on Mirror Now, but some more breaking news coming in.